All right, my friends, I just pressed the Let's Go Live button. And so that means we got to wait for the stream to fire up all across the fruited plain of the interwebs. Before we go ahead and get started, got to make sure the tubes connect themselves. And it looks like these two have done that. That's tremendous. Whoa! It's working over here, and that was quick. That means we can go ahead and get started. So let's do it, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney, and today we're talking about the Alvin Bragg prosecution. We're going into New York, and we got two segments to attend to. We're going to break up today's activities into two parts because two major things happened. One, of course, was a contempt proceeding. Judge Merchan has already held Donald Trump in contempt once before, saying that his True Social posts and his other comments on Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, and the rest of the scammers in this case, that those were dangerous to the administration of justice, and he needed to be gagged from doing that. And so we've already had the contempt hearing and the prior contempt order on that, but we had a new one that was settled today. And this is very interesting because one of the things Trump was saying in one of the posts that he put on True Social was about this guy, Mark Pomerantz, remember? And so we have arguments about why Trump should be gagged again. And meanwhile, we have Mark Pomerantz. You remember him as a former prosecutor of Trump, the guy who resigned in a temper tantrum when Alvin Bragg came in and said that he wasn't going to prosecute this case anymore. Mark Pomerantz wrote a whole book about it and everything. Now he doesn't want to talk. He's pleading the fifth. He says, gonna invoke my right to remain silent now. We're like, oh, that's curious. Thought you were a public servant with nothing to hide. You know, prosecutors always say, if you have nothing to hide, just tell us the truth. Cops say that too. So now he's taking the fifth, and Trump had a statement before court. We're going to see what happened with Pomerantz, with Trump. Then we're going to jump into the contempt hearing and see what happened there today. And then round it out with Alina, Habba, who is talking about the ladies on The View. So that'll be fun. Then we'll come back. They take a break, and we have our witness who's back on the stand in the next session. And so it is trial day 10. Of course, you know who's reporting on all this. Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, doing a great job. And so we'll check in with him and see what he had to say about today's activities or in his reports. But remember, this guy's back on the stand. His name is Keith Davidson, and he was the lawyer for Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, the guy who was there at the inception of these NDAs. And we have our theories about how maybe this is being orchestrated, right? Who's really the mastermind behind this whole thing? They want to say Trump did it, but we have an idea that maybe it's Michael Cohen who did it. And so we're watching how he interplays with all these people. And Keith Davidson comes out today and basically says, Michael Cohen's a liar. I don't like him and I don't trust him at all. We also had a cell phone expert who came out to testify today. And then Trump commented on his closed eyes. You've seen this a lot. Everybody in the media comes out and says, well, he's falling asleep. He's sleepy Don or something, because their president is hardly functional. All three of his brain cells are working on overtime over there in the Biden brain. And Trump is just taking a little bit of a nappy. He's like, this is all ridiculous. I might as well just meditate on my pending success in America. And so we'll go through that. We'll see what he says about it. We also have a couple clips. One from Tim Scott, who is rumored to be on the VP shortlist. He's on the list with Rubio, Burgum, Vance. Those are the four of them. Scott, Burgum, and Rubio. It's Rubio. We got Tim Scott, a clip of him. And then after court took place, Trump was out. He went out and about. And look at that. He's delivering pizza to the FDNY in New York. What an American hero. Being prosecuted by the corrupt city and Bragg and Biden through Matthew Colangelo. And he still has the energy to bring them a pie. What a man. All right. So we got those segments to attend to today. And before we get into anything, we have an update on the GoodLawgic fight that's also taking place in New York. And so I wanted to call everybody's attention to this one. So I have the link in the description. But you know our friend GoodLawgic, aka Joe Neerman. He's over on X at the Following Pro. And he now has brought in some support to help him on this epic fight to get Trump ungagged, right? The gag on Trump is a big problem, not only for Trump, obviously, because he is somebody who should be able to speak about the legal atrocities that are coming his way in multiple jurisdictions. But it's also a problem for us, the people of America, who need to hear from him and be apprised of these judicial malcontents who are orchestrating this entire charade. And so he is now fighting to ungag the president. Now, he wrote, MAGA's uniquely dangerous, quote. That's the reason Trump was gagged. That is why they dumped 235 years of constitutional precedent into the garbage and ignored it. He said, if you want to protect the First Amendment from being permanently damaged, here's your link, baby. And of course, we gave that the old retweet. So if you want to find that, if you're following us already, you can find it. Otherwise, you can head on over to @thefollowingpro or go to givesendgo.com/ungagtrump to support GoodLawgic in his fight. And our friend Andrew Branca over at Law of Self-Defense has made a nice dono from Law of Self-Defense LLC, sending in a big dono over there to Joe Neerman. And we sent some love over from the Watcher fam as well. And so if you want to do the same, you can go and hand that one in. You can see there's the Watcher fam jumped in over there. And so we got some nice donos here. Whoa, Happy K. That's a big, nice, fat dono right there. Whoa, that's a nice one. Anonymous, Warren K, Stephen M, Anonymous, another one, nice one there. A lot of people pitching in because they're tired of everybody being gagged. And that means us. Trump is gagged, but we cannot hear him either. So look at all these great 1787 tactical. Boom, sending in some nice donos. And so if you want to go do that, you know where to do that. That is over on this page, Ungag Trump, Give, Send, Go, courtesy of GoodLawgic. And of course, he's next door on YouTube and Rumble and Locals and all the places. So he's still out there fighting, and we're sending in that update. So make sure you give him some love if you can and follow his work, because we're grateful that he's out there fighting for it. So shout out to our friend GoodLawgic. Keep up the good work, Joe. All right, now, what else do we have? We have to also say hello to our friends. Also, where can you find us? Watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We do members-only live streams in the morning. We go live 9 a.m. Mountain, my time, and noon Eastern time. We'd love to have you join us. They're a lot of fun, a little bit of a different vibe, a little casual, a little bit more conversational. So come join us. We talk about a bunch of stuff we can't get into here. We talked all about HB 6090 and what a disaster that whole thing is. Did the full analysis on that. So if you want to go through that, it's there for membos. We also have robertgovea.com, where we have our PDFs, show notes, email, newsletter, our merch store, our calendar, if you want to add any of those to your lists, and watcherlodge.com, where our meetup is taking place, the Watcher in-person meetup, June 29, 2024, RSVP only if you are a hard confirm at watcherlodge.com. We're going to Trump International Hotel, baby, June 2024. The energy is going to be electric. It's going to be mag-electric. You know what I'm saying? So come check it out. All right, watcherlodge.com. Also, Sovereignty Saturdays. Go sign up. Go add Sovereignty Saturday to your calendar. It's the right thing to do so we can, build a community about sovereignty and self-development. It's good. We've got to improve our lives, man. Come join us. All right, and so without any further ado, let's get right to it, because we got business to attend to today. A former Trump prosecutor called Mark Pomerantz, this guy right here, is now invoking the fifth, pleading the fifth, saying, I don't want to answer any questions lest I might incriminate myself. And so that's a very curious thing for a prosecutor to be doing, given that prosecutors always lecture the defense about this, especially guys like this. Mark wrote a whole book about this. Trump is such a monster. If he wants to be proven innocent, why can't we just have him in court and he can prove himself? All that garbage, right? Why are you silent if you're so innocent? Well, of course, he is invoking. And that's the right thing to do legally. I'm not disputing that. I am calling out the double standards, right? They always apply this to Trump inappropriately. Well, he should just want to go into trial. Well, he'd also like to review the evidence, 13 million pages. 6 months isn't enough time to do that. But this is Mark Pomerantz. And he was called out by Matt Gaetz, representative, one of the only Republicans, along with a few others who are digging into this very important issue. You can see Gaetz posted this. He says, this is a new video. The Trump prosecutor now pleads the fifth. He was asked if he broke the law investigating Trump. And you remember this guy, Mark Pomerantz right here. He was a former Manhattan DA. He was working there at Bragg's office before Bragg was there and had a whole scheme. In my opinion, it was a collusion with Kerry Dunn and others who've had their entire livelihood reoriented around getting Trump. Colangelo was bouncing around at the time as well. And they were there creating this case. Alvin Bragg won the election, came in, looked at the case, declined to prosecute just like the federal government did at the Southern District of New York, said, sorry, there's nothing here. Cohen's a liar. This case is crap. Your witnesses are a porn star and Cohen. Okay. So they declined to prosecute. Alvin Bragg rejected him, and he cried through a hissy fit, wrote this big resignation letter that they put on the New York Times. And they were, everybody's like, I can't believe this. Alvin Bragg is not going to be able to prosecute. He's going to get away from all this. And then they brought Matthew Colangelo, who was previously with Tisch, then went to Biden, then was like, okay, you better go get Alvin Bragg in order. So then he comes back from the DOJ. This is after Pomerantz leaves, so he resigns in disgrace. He's all embarrassed with himself. And then Colangelo comes back, gives Bragg the old cattle prod, and he's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll prosecute him. Please stop. Just give me back my donuts, just please. And then this case is back on track. So now Matt Gaetz is asking this dude, who was no longer at the office because he threw a hissy fit and left, where's your cell phone? Where are your records? This is a public investigation, so can we please see all of that? What's your involvement in this? And it's open records, public records. You're part of the government, so it should be documented. We should turn your cell phone in other words. Where is it? And so here is what Matt Gaetz was asking, and then suddenly he pleads the fifth.
On the advice of counsel, I'm not going to answer that question.
Oh, sir. Why not, Mark?
Privilege against self-incrimination.
Oh, yeah.
And did you knowingly break any laws when investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you break any laws when you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
Same response.
Ms. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights when you worked on the Trump investigation?
Objection.
I have the same response to your question.
Mr. Pomerantz.
Why can't he just say no? Why can't he just say, no, of course not, I didn't violate any laws. No, of course not. No, of course I didn't violate anyone's constitutional rights. I'm a prosecutor. I never would do that. No. Why does he have to plead the fifth, huh?
Did you violate any person's constitutional rights while you worked at the Manhattan DA's office?
Objection.
Same answer.
Did you misuse any federal funds while investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you misuse any federal funds while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Same response.
And did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
Same response.
And did you violate any canons of legal ethics when you were investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you ever violate any canons of legal ethics while you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
The same response.
Okay, answer to every question was yes. Yes, I did. Constitutional? Yeah. Unconstitutional? Yeah. Did you violate your ethics? Yeah. Did you violate the code of conduct? Yeah. Bar rules? Yeah. All of them. But, if prosecutors are asking the question here, it's their standards we're asking them to adhere to. So what is the problem with him just saying no clearly? I would never misappropriate any federal funds clearly. Well, very curious. I guess if we abide by their standard, the only thing we conclude is he's guilty of every one of those things, right? I guess so. Because believe me, when Donald Trump doesn't take the stand, and I doubt that he will, we'll see if he does or not, but I sort of doubt it. If he does not take the stand, they're going to be saying that, wow, he is a dishonest person because a man of integrity would want to just come out and tell the truth, right? Because here's the problem. Your words get interpreted, right? It's a smart thing to do to plead the fifth. Now, it's a little bit of a strange thing to have that coming from a prosecutor who is under a lot of scrutiny for how he may have corrupted the case in bringing it against Trump. What other things did they breach in terms of attorney-client privilege, executive privilege? There's a lot of problems with the investigations, as we've seen in every single one that we've covered here. So that is from Gates. He is, of course, is pleading the fifth. And so this is something that Trump has called out. Remember, one of the prior posts from Trump was about Mark Pomerantz in particular. It said, I wonder what happened to his cell phone records. Where'd all those go? Like, did he use a public cell phone and a private cell phone? And if he used a private cell phone, were those private cell phone text messages and email exchanges and all the things logged in accordance with his duties and obligations as a public servant, so-called prosecutor? Right, where are those? So Trump posted about this, and they said, you can't talk about a witness. Pomerantz might come in here and testify. We never know. And so they said this was, threatening, intimidating a witness, whatever. So we now have a contempt proceeding that is about to get underway in day 10 of this trial. Before everything gets started, Donald Trump was out speaking to the public. He had a little bit of a conversation about the college protests and other things, but let's check in and see what he has to say specifically about this trial.
Whether you like it or not, and it's too bad. We're down at the trial now, getting ready to spend another day in the courthouse, which is bogus trial that every leading authority on law says should never have been brought, that Alvin Bragg didn't want to bring it until the election happened, and then he brought it. You just do know that this case could have been brought 8 years ago. Could have been brought 8 years ago. Instead, they wait and wait and wait. They know it's not a good case, and now it's turned out to be they've lost they have no case. They have no case. But we have a very conflicted judge, unfortunately, and so you never know. But other than that, there's no case, and it should have never been brought. But if it was going to be brought, it should have been brought 8 years ago. We're talking about 2015, 2016. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And they wait till I announce, and then they start their action, and then they wait till prime time, Super Tuesday. It all started Super Tuesday, the biggest day, which we won every single thing. Super Tuesday was a big day for me, but that's when it all really came into being. And who starts a case right smack in the middle of somebody's elections? It should be illegal because it's election interference. So we're going to go in right now, and I will comment just quickly on the colleges and universities.
All right, so you know where that's going, and we are going to fast forward through that. But, of course, Trump is explaining how this was a tactical launch, and it's worse than just them initiating this case late. It is also them accelerating the trial. All right, remember, they had Judge Chutkan's trial that was scheduled to start in March. And then they moved that around once she got stayed and it went up on appeal at the Supreme Court. Then they reaccelerated the New York case. It wasn't even really ready to go. And they're like, oh, crap, our Florida case isn't going to go. Big fannies at Nathan's Hot Dog Land. We also have the J6 case, which is up on appeal, probably coming back down. That's not going to go before the election. So they accelerated this back when they could. So it is, it is strategic lawfare being coordinated by multiple branches of the government, DOJ, the judiciary at the federal level, the prosecutors at the state level, and the judiciary at the state level, all to consolidate their calendars to make sure that there's always something going against this guy as best they can. They call that justice. It's insane. So Trump's looking sharp. Nice gold tie. Amazing. And there was a question about why this is now starting. How can they get this beyond the statute of limitations? There's a couple reasons for this, and it's a great question, so I'll just answer it briefly. But one was COVID. So they said during COVID, any statute of limitations were basically stayed. There was a Hochul order. I looked into this. There was a Hochul order that extended the statute of limitations, basically paused or told the clock from accruing. They also say, according to New York law, that when he was president, that also created a stay. So basically a 4-year stay on the statute of limitations tolling. And then the final, main justification for it was about also the fact that they bumped this up into a felony. They actually aggravated it from a regular misdemeanor into a felony. The only way that they could create this was to concoct this felony scheme, which is now predicated on a federal offense, which the SDNY declined to prosecute. So Trump is out explaining, again, that is as rigged as it gets, right? All of this is, those are, I think, good arguments for the presidency. Okay, fine. COVID, that's true. That happened in Arizona. But there's also this maneuvering to turn this, it's a business records case, which is generally a misdemeanor. They've shoehorned it into a felony to extend the statute of limitations by making it a felony. Otherwise, this case would not be able to be brought. So it is rigged, in other words. So this is now what happens in trial. Of course, we're going over to Inner City Press, who is reporting. You know who he is. Make sure you're following him, Matthew Russell Lee. He is at Inner City Press on X, and he's got a bunch of good stuff that you can grab to enjoy some more details about what's happening in this trial, and also to support his work. We encourage you to check him out, his Patreon and his Amazon. And of course, we are reposting this right now. So if you're watching us on X, you can see that at the top of our timeline. So Inner City Press is reporting, and he tells us trial, day 10, New York. Donald Trump has arrived on scene at the courthouse, seated at the defense table, leaning over, whispering to his defense attorney, Todd Blanche, to his right, seated in the lead counsel seat. Now, there is some commotion afoot. Looks like we're going to be handling the contempt motion at the start of this proceeding. And Todd Blanche is going to be arguing the case. Now, we are waiting for the judge to get in. The clock strikes 9:30. Poof, the doors open. All rise. Everybody stands up. Please be seated. Clerk of the court says, all right, this is the time set for the people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump, indictment number, blah, 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 blah. Judge Mercant says, all right, good morning, everybody. Today, we're getting started with our hearing on contempt. Now, previously, the defense provided close to 500 pages in total. That's a lot. Now, government, why don't you go through each one of these violations that you are alleging here, and why don't you explain them? So the government bureaucrat gets up, prosecutor. He says, all right, Your Honor, happy to. Well, Trump is claiming that the order, the gag order, was not intended to allow others to attack him without him being able to respond. That's what Trump says. But he's already been found to have violated an order 9 times. And he did that earlier this week. And now he's just done it again. And so Trump said in his post, Your Honor, he pulls up this post. He says this jury was picked very fast. It's a 95% Democrat area there in Manhattan. And his justification for this comment is that the media was saying that. He says the media said it, so I can say it. But he amplifies it, okay? Now he's creating an air of menace, whatever that is, an air of menace. Might be something in New York case law that he's saying, you know, it's his case is an air of menace. Sounds like a legal term of art. We'll see. And so he places this entire process in jeopardy by him saying stuff in his own defense about this rigged case. This whole process is in jeopardy, which there's some I would say some truth to that in terms of we're analyzing this in 2 avenues. Okay. The court of law, the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion is where the First Amendment operates. We're allowed to talk about this. That's why we have it. It is undermining their process because it's wrecking the credibility of their prosecution. And they can't have that. But that's our system. Our system is built for that. If it's a legitimate and a credible prosecution, Trump can run his mouth and there's nothing you can do. Like imagine if Brian Kohberger comes out. Okay. And I've been following that case. I don't know if there's, mounds of evidence or not, but I think there is. But if he came out and says, this whole case is rigged against me. Everybody comes out and says, no, dude, like we got your hand, like we got you. Like, okay. Right. It's no one believes that, but they suppress the truthful things. The truth is what gets suppressed, and the truth would wreck their credibility. This judge donated to Joe Biden. Yeah. This judge's daughter raised $93 million for the Democrats and works for Joe and Kamala. Yeah. It places your credibility and this process in jeopardy, right? And they don't want that to happen. So they have to silence him, in other words, which is a violation of the First Amendment for Trump and for us. And it is anti-American. They say that the integrity of the proceedings, whatever that means, usurps that. Now, on April 25th, reporters were questioning Trump, they say. And I think it was all part of the plan. They asked about David Pecker, said Trump. He's a nice guy. He said, this is classic carrot and stick. And so he selectively responded to this question and not others. And so Trump is just saying stuff that is illegal, in violation of your order, Your Honor. Similarly, here's another one. They say Trump, in an interview to a Pennsylvania TV station back on April 23rd, Your Honor, he said this. He said, Michael Cohen is, quote, a convicted liar, and he has no credibility. They say he got in trouble and he did some bad things with banking. And so that was willful and knowing, Your Honor. Okay, he said that. Michael Cohen's a witness. He's on our witness list. And he's a convicted liar. He's clearly talking about him. This was willful and knowing. And also, Judge, on April 22nd, outside the door to this very courtroom, in the little pen out there that's set up for him, he stood there, the defendant, for 9 minutes and spoke about a witness that will be here at some point in the future. His name is Michael Cohen. And he said Cohen wasn't even a very good lawyer. He said Cohen got caught lying, which is, factually true. He's got a conviction for it. Now, we understand the court's concern about Michael Cohen. The judge is like, well, the dude's kind of a liar. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? But they filed 500 pages of documents, Your Honor. This is the government whining. They filed his TikToks. Michael Cohen doing his little hearts. Yeah, Michael, get it. But there's nothing to indicate that Trump saw these when they were made. So there's nothing to prove that he was responding to those. So he's just ripping on Cohen because he wants to, not because he's responding to anything at all. And he says, by the way, Michael Cohen is not a political opponent. He's not running for anything. He said, Your Honor, here's an order, okay? You wrote an order, and these are violations of that order. Now, Mr. Blanche, right here in front of this courtroom, he said to Trump, to his client, he said that he understands the gag order. And so, Your Honor, we've met our burden, okay? There's an order. We showed you here. He shouldn't be talking about Michael Cohen. And so we're asking here this morning for a maximum $1,000 fine. Each payment should be $1,000. Now, Your Honor, we are not yet seeking jail. Yet. Looking at Trump. And we're doing that to avoid disruption to this proceeding. But next time, maybe we will. Do it! Disrupt it! We'll see if he does. Real tough. All right, so here's Justice Mercan. He says, okay, nice little speech there, government. Mr. Blanche, over to you. Trump's defense attorney stands up. He says, Your Honor, on Tuesday, the court said to us that the purpose of the gag order is to shield those fearful of reprisal from the defendant, from Trump. Now, that's a reason to deny these four. If the purpose of the gag is to shield those fearful of reprisal, then that doesn't apply here. Now, you've said that your order is not intended to allow unfettered attacks on Trump, but that's what's happening right now if he can't respond to this. Now, since Trump announced in 2022, almost 2 years ago, there have been attacks by Michael Cohen and people he has on his podcast regularly. He has a podcast over there and he shows up on a bunch of other podcasts and hangs out with Inside Jen Psaki, and they have, patty cake time on their network. And the judge cuts him off, says, well, my main concern is with the conduct after the gag order was issued. So I issued an order. What happened after that? So he says, fine, I'll focus on recent statements then, Your Honor. I'll just get to it. He says, last week, President Trump's rival, this is Trump's defense, President Biden said in a public forum, he talked about a witness in this trial. Okay, the president of this country, Trump's chief political opponent, says, you might call it stormy weather, huh? He's talking about Stormy Daniels and his little stupid correspondence dinner where he couldn't even eat a salad. Joe, eat your food. He got it in there finally, which is good. Our president can feed himself. That's great news. Now, President Trump can't respond due to the gag order, they say. So the president is out there dunking on his political opponent that he's unleashed his DOJ to go after and sent Matthew Colangelo from the DOJ to go reignite the Alvin Bragg prosecution. President Trump can't respond to the gag. He said, well, he can respond to President Biden. He just can't speak about a witness in this trial. But Biden can? This is ridiculous. He can go out and give whole speeches about this and talk about Stormy, but Trump can't talk about Stormy? So he can just respond to Biden but not reference Stormy? Your Honor, these exhibits from them are mostly, or that we have, of these 500 pages, they came stacked, baby. They're mostly tweets or retweets by Michael Cohen. They're recents and podcasts, and they're also recent. Very recent. Podcasts, we got a whole list. Now it says there may be a need to remove some people from the gag order if they don't need protecting, right? If Michael Cohen wants to run his mouth, remove him. We can talk about him. So on Pecker, Trump said on April 23rd for a news show in Philadelphia, he was answering a question about Pecker. Now, what Trump said was factual and neutral. And so there shouldn't even be a warning on that. Now, the president also has known Pecker for decades. And so they're friends. Like, it's not even a thing. He says, judge cuts him off. It's not just about Mr. Pecker, okay? It's the message to other witnesses. I have expressed my concerns about Mr. Cohen, says the judge. Even the judge is like, yikes. But it's about the other witnesses, okay? That's a concern, right? Other witnesses are going to see what Trump is doing, and they might be scared. So therefore, we have to silence Trump. Isn't that crazy? So it's not even about the person that Trump is speaking about. It's about what someone else might think about the person Trump is speaking about. You can't measure that. How do you quantify that? So you just can't speak about anything. And Cohen can run his mouth. Biden can run his mouth. Stormy can run her mouth with her documentaries on Peacock. But it's about the other witnesses. Todd Blanche's defense says, Your Honor, every word that's being said here is being reported in real time. And so President Trump has to respond. What's happening in this trial gets cut off. He said, yeah, it's not surprising we have the press here, okay? The defendant is a former president, after all. And the judge says he's also the leading Republican candidate. Now, I don't have any authority over the press, so I can't tell them what to report or to not report or what to do or who they put on their shows. I can't extend the gag order to the press. So if you're upset with Cohen being on the press, that's on the press. It's not my problem. So let me ask you, Todd, when your client went to that holding area outside this courtroom, he went to them, not the press to him. So Trump went to talk to them. And so he gave them the statement. He says, well, I agree with that, Your Honor, but President Trump has to be able to speak. He's running for president. Well, that's why the area is set up, okay? So he can speak about the DA of New York County, and that's all. He says, Your Honor, on David Pecker, what President Trump said, well, he was nice. He said he was a nice guy. He didn't even say anything mean about him. So that's all he said. And judge says, well, I'm not really concerned with that one. All right. I'm not really concerned about him talking about Pecker. You can say nice things about Pecker, but not about the other people. Says, Your Honor, Mr. Cohen, okay, this is different, has been inviting, almost daring President Trump to respond to him. Now, let me put some of these on the screen. Judge says, hurry up. Put it on the screen. All right, fine. Go fast. So they put photos on the screen. There's a photo of Trump in orange with, I guess, Nelson Mandela in prison, right? So we've seen those stupid memes. They're idiotic memes. The left can't meme. They're not funny at all. But it's a stupid meme. Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, continues. He says, Your Honor, Mr. Cohen posted on this one. He says that he's not going to send money to President Trump's commissary account when he's in jail. And then he says something obnoxious. And it's a photo of Barry Diller, Squawk Box, and Midas Touch. It's now down. So, you know, Midas, those crew, they all just wake up with TDS on the brain every morning and pump out as much content as they can, like every hour. It's crazy. You should go just check their channel out. It's just hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, these people are mental. But that's all they do. Okay, so they're talking about this. Now, Todd Blanche says, Mr. Cohen has been shopping a TV show. He thinks someone's going to watch him and the disaster. So he's going through the screen. Judge cuts him off. Okay, we've made your point here. Okay, we don't need to see all of these posts. Enough. He says, Your Honor, Cohen has interviewed reporters in this room who blast President Trump for what he did while he was president. In excess of 10, by the way. He's looking around at the media. He's like, Cohen brought this guy on and that guy and you too, punk, and you. in excess of 10 in this room. And actually way excess of 10. He's looking around. He's like, look at all these scum. Now, Mr. Cohen goes on TikTok every night doing his little heart dance, making money off this case. Now, this is not a man who needs protection from the gag order, okay? Okay, well, what about the comments that Trump made about the jury, he says? He says there's 15 seconds, Your Honor, from a 20-minute interview here. Okay, this trial matters to voters. We believe this is a political prosecution. Now, you may not, but we do. Yeah, but he said the jury was rushed through this process. Does this violate the gag order, Mr. Blanche? He says he wasn't speaking about any particular juror. He said they're a Democrat or anything. That's that. He says the press has done that. The press has talked about the jurors, not the president. Judge says, okay, it's 10-10, enough out of you. Let's wrap it up and get going. He says, Your Honor, okay, finally, let me just say Stormy Daniels does also not need to be protected by this gag order. She's got a documentary and she doesn't need anyone protecting her. I was going to make a gag comment, but we'll leave that out. So jury in 5 minutes, he says, the judge. So we're taking a break. Jury's back in 5 minutes. And of course, that is the contempt proceeding. And so the judge is going to reserve a ruling on that. We'll take that under advisement. We'll get his ruling. What do you think is going to happen on that? We'll wait and see. But that is the first part of the trial in day 10. And so we'll pause. We'll hear from Alina, who's talking about the ladies on The View and how upset they are that Trump might win the election. They're very concerned and nervous about this. Worried, you might say. It's just why they need all these criminal prosecutions to go against Trump so they can have a new talking point. He's a convicted felon. And by the way, when this is over, they're going to say this is not a business records case. They're going to call this an election interference case. And what are they going to do with that? We'll see. We'll see if the Republicans keep control of the House. But this is what the ladies on The View are talking about. And Alina has a response.
We got to ring some alarm bells. The election's 7 months out. I don't trust polling. I do agree with that. I think you can take it on aggregate, and if the polls on aggregate are to be believed, Donald Trump very well may be president in 7 months.
You said you were in a good mood.
No, and I said, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry to bring the mood down with my take, but I'm very worried.
But what's the good mood about?
I just happen to be in one.
What do you want, some kind of drug or something?
I know.
Well, so yuck, yuck, yuck. I got bad news for you, ladies of The View. Trump just might be president in 7 months. Coming from Melissa Farah, who once was pro-Trump as they can get, and now has made a career on anti-Trumpism. Again,
Sell a lot
Alina,
of books, get a lot of
you're a better
interviews
person
that way.
for that right seat because you'll be at least honest at that table.
Yeah, but if you listen to her, what did she say? The word she used, I'm worried. It goes exactly to what I said. They're trying to create fear, and they know that people act out in fear. And if they don't have all the facts, they become fearful. If they don't have faith, they become fearful. And fear is a very crippling thing. And that's what they keep saying. I'm worried. I'm scared. Oh, he's going to do this. Oh, it's a revenge. And oh, give me a break. Our country is falling apart. Campuses are a disaster. Kids need to go back and do their homework and stop protesting because they're backed by some left-winging person. You're hurting the country. You're hurting our children. That's the future of our country. And if these people care about their children, I challenge them to look at their wallets, look at their homes, and look at what their kids are being taught and tell me how it's better now than it was under President Trump, because you cannot. You absolutely cannot with a straight face. So maybe it's clickbait. Maybe that's what they want, and they'll make their money that way. But I think moral compasses are kind of critical at these moments.
Yeah, they, I think, have foregone a lot of those conversations. It's basically all hands on deck to just stop Trump. They don't really care about justice anymore. They, I think, don't care about even a lot of the issues anymore, as long as they can utilize the issue or their power to stop Trump. They'll do it. And then they'll figure out the issues in the aftermath, which is why I think a lot of things are sort of coming off the rails here as they try to flail around to find something that works, grasping on to some lever that might stop Trump. We'll see if they can do it or not. But of course, that was the contempt proceeding. Now we are going to come back for the second half of the trial in the next segment, of course. But this is something we'll continue to follow up on because Judge Merchan, very likely, like the last order, will issue a written opinion and he'll explain why Trump did it or why he didn't do it, and then issue more orders for fines, penalties, and sanctions. And also, they are going to use these every time Trump gets hit with contempt. They're going to add that to the Sandoval filing so that they can cross-examine Trump about it, say, why do you violate the judge's order? So it's compounding, and that's all part of the strategy. Now, we're going to be here continuing to cover it, my friends. And so thank you for joining us as we do. Don't forget to check out Inner City Press's work. We got his links in our description below, wherever you're watching this. We also have our links. Watchingthewatchers.locals.com is our members-only community. We do live streams 6 days a week in the mornings, including on Saturdays. We talk about a bunch of other stuff that we can't get into here. We'd love to have you join us, so come on over, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'll see you over there and back here on the next one. All right, now we're not done. We've got the second half coming up right now, and so let's get right into it. Michael Cohen's credibility gets further shredded today in day trial of the Alvin Bragg case. We know that we have Keith Davidson, the former lawyer for Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, who's back on the stand. We're going to get into cross-examination by him from Trump's defense. And he was the person who facilitated a lot of these deals, was working with Michael Cohen and David Pecker to get Karen McDougal settled out. And we heard from him that his relationship with Michael Cohen was a little bit tense. They said that they had to pay him $10,000 to even pick up the phone to call Michael Cohen. That's how annoying Michael Cohen is. Could you imagine? I believe it. I don't know if 10,000 is enough, to be honest, but that's what it cost. So we're going to get into this. Of course, Inner City Press is the person reporting. Trump is explaining his eyes and why they might be closed. We've got Tim Scott, and then Trump spoke after court and also delivered pizzas to the FDNY. And so we'll see what that looked like, making the most out of a rigged sham prosecution. So we're going through this courtesy of Inner City Press. You know where to find him. And we're back in court. Trial is day 10. You can follow him at Inner City Press, and he's got all the links in our description. He reports to us that after a contempt hearing, which took place earlier in the morning, the jury is now in session. Jury enters. And Mr. Davidson was already back on the stand. Government prosecutor comes out to finish the direct examination. Says, welcome back, Mr. Davidson. Mr. Davidson, when you were here last, you were talking about your emails with and about Michael Cohen. Remember that? Yeah. And so I want to share with you the government exhibit 168. All right, blow that up on the screen over there. What does that say to you, Mr. Davidson? He says, executed agreement, change to correct LLC, escrow until receipt of agreement by Dylan. He reads the document. Oh, thank you. And so what was this email about? He says, well, we'd had a phone call and I'd lost trust in Michael Cohen. And so we were having a problem there. And so Dylan came in to mediate that. Well, why did you lose trust with Michael Cohen? Says the prosecutor. He was not telling me the truth. And okay. See what happened? Davidson says, well, he was not telling me the truth. And I thought that, and the prosecutor cut him off. Zip it. That's enough. He was not telling me the truth. Perfect. That's all. Shut up. Don't say anything else out of that. And how about this document, this email? Now, you gave this to us under subpoena. Is that right? Yeah. And what does this one say? Put it up on the screen, blowing it up. It says list Essential Consultants LLC. It says your Michael Cohen. Your comma Michael Cohen. Did you respond to this? Yes, I did. At 7:02 a.m., I said, I will work in good faith to get that done. Now, Mr. Davidson, did you receive the funds as a wire from Essential Consultants? So you actually got some money. Is that right? Yes. And this on this liquidated damages provision, what does that mean? He says, well, I authored this provision. It was for $1 million per violation. He says, I believe this provision would be unenforceable, but, you know, Michael Cohen demanded it. That was in there. So I put it in there. And liquidated damages, these are sort of pre-contemplated penalties if there's a breach. So in a contract, right, if there's a breach of a contract, you say, hey, I was supposed to have these widgets delivered here yesterday. You didn't deliver them here yesterday. We had a contract for you to do that. You didn't do that. Therefore, there's a breach of contract. I'm damaged because I needed to use those widgets for this project. Now that project's delayed, so I'm hurt. So I got to show my damages. And maybe that's $1,000 or $50,000. I don't know. But liquidated damages, you could just say, look, I don't know what my damages will be. If those widgets are not here at 9 a.m., it is $50,000 a day that their widgets are not here. Oh, crap. Okay, crap. 50,000 a day. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, whatever it is. So they just argued $1 million per violation. Woo, Michael Cohen, like big boy over there. Says it's not even enforceable, but he's like, whatever, I put it in there because Cohen's a moron. Who cares? He says, I believe this provision would be unenforceable, but whatever. He says, okay, thank you for that. Now, who is DD? Who is DD? He says, that's Donald Trump. Well, is his name written here in the side letter? He says, yeah, that's my handwriting. That's his name. DD. Yeah, that's my handwriting. It says attorney's eyes only. Well, who signed for David Dennison? He says Michael Cohen did. And Mr. Davidson, how much did you personally make from this whole deal? He says $10,000. And how much did Stormy Daniels get? Well, I can't answer that. I think that's attorney-client privilege. Sorry. Now, when did the article come out about Karen McDougal's agreement? And when it did, how did Michael Cohen came out? You guys executed this. You made 10 grand. Okay. What happened next? He says, well, Cohen was angry. He was angry about the timing. You know, it came out just before the election. And this email looks like it was on election night. Is that right? What did you write on this screen? What did you write? He says, what have we done? Okay, so it's like a text message. So he sends a text to someone else. What have we done? We got Trump elected. Oh, no. We're not going to have new wars and a secure border and a functional economy with a sound dollar. Okay, no. What have we done? What did you mean by that, Mr. Davidson, when you sent that text? He said, well, I thought that we may have helped get Donald Trump elected. And what did Dylan Howard respond with? He said, OMG. Oh my God. And who won the election, Mr. Davidson? Donald Trump. And later, Michael Cohen called me, said Davidson. He says, and I was in a strangely decorated department store. And Cohen called me. He says, good Lord, man, can you effing believe I'm not going to DC? After everything I've done for that effing guy, I've saved his ace so many times and he didn't even pay me my $130K. He's like, wow. Cohen called you and said that? Says, is this a receipt from the store you were in when you got the call from Michael Cohen? He says, yeah, that's the receipt. I was in there. It's this strange store, strangely decorated department store. I wonder what he was in. I don't know where he's at, what kind of store he was in. But he says, yeah, that's the call. December 9th, 2016. Now, he says, I'm almost afraid to ask. Yeah, good call. But how was that store decorated? Like, what was the store? He says it was a big box store. It was like an Alice in Wonderland thing. Okay, let's make Christmas season. There's nothing strange about a winter wonderland. All right, I don't know. Now to early 2018. Okay, so we're in 2016. The election's over. Trump's ready to be sworn in January of 17. And Michael Cohen gets the call. You're not going to D.C. You're an idiot, okay? You're lucky we even talked to you, okay? It cost me $10,000 for that dude to even give you a call. All right, so I'm almost afraid to ask. He says, like Alice in Wonderland. I go, okay, fine. Now, let's go to early 2018. So we fast forward. Trump is now in office. He says, what's this document? He says, well, I had received a comment call from the Wall Street Journal. Some reporter was poking around. They were asking about Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump. And so I reiterated our 2011 denial. I said, no, there is no relationship. Our cease and desist letter to thedirty.com. And we know that letter. We've seen that letter many times. That letter is the Stormy Daniels letter. I have not, stop asking me about it. He says, so it was in January 2018. And so I forwarded it to Cohen. Some reporter, look, there's a 2011 denial. We sent a cease and desist to the dirty. Like, it's clear. Like, no, go away. And so I forwarded that to Cohen, the email. Now, I want to show you, Mr. Davidson, the government exhibit 255. You see this? Yeah. What is it? Well, those look like instant messages between me and Michael Cohen. And so I wrote this. I said, Wall Street Journal called Stormy deadline tonight. Cohen sent a message back. Write a strong denial for her like you did before. Now, was what was issued true? He says, well, technically it was. Well, how? He says, well, the relationship was not romantic. He says, but was it sexual? He says it was an and or. It was an and/or. He says, okay, so that was just really cleverly worded. Is that what you're saying? He says, I don't even understand the question. What are you asking about? And let's just grab that letter while we're here so we can get into the specifics on this. And we'll open that one up and take a look at it because we do have that queued up in our slides. And of course, it is downloading as we speak. But here was one of the letters from Stormy. Let's see if I have this handy. Didn't know that they were going to be getting into it so in so much detail. All right, give me 1 second. Apologies. So here's the Stormy slides. They're loading, as you can see. And let's see where this letter was. Aha. So this letter says, over the past few weeks, hang on, there we are. Over the past few weeks, I've been asked countless times to comment on reports. Many, many years ago, the fact of the matter is that each of the parties to this alleged affair denied its existence. I'm not denying this affair because I was paid hush money. I'm denying this affair because it never happened. Yeah, so this is a different letter. So there is no and or in this one. So it's a different conversation that we are clearly having. So let's carry on and see where this takes us. So it's a different letter. It was an or. Okay, so it was cleverly worded. It was not romantic, but it was sexual. It was an or/or. Okay, so it was cleverly worded. I don't understand the question. What are you asking? He says, you call it hush money. I don't know what that means. I call it consideration. Okay, this was a settlement in a civil matter. So you wouldn't call it hush money? He says, I would never use that word. No, I call it consideration, okay, which is a contractual term of art. In contract law, you have what's called an offer, an agreement, and then consideration, which kind of seals the deal. It's like something that kind of glues the deal together. Somebody does something in furtherance of the deal, right? There's some exchange, somebody starts something, it's some values created, it's value transacted. No, I would never use that. It's consideration. So there was financial exchange for a benefit. That's all. He says, and Cohen was like texting me. He said, oh gosh, Stormy's going on Hannity, Davidson. This isn't good. And then he wrote back, he says, no interviews, okay? Stop giving her interviews. It was another one of Michael Cohen's pants on fire moments, okay? He asked someone, or some Wiseman, they said. Someone said no interviews. Okay, so what does this text say, Mr. Davidson? He says, Cohen asks, why is she going on Kimmel after the State of the Union? He's sending me this text. So I don't know. I said, I was difficult. You know, she might have to repay the money and liquidated damages. I don't know. So Stormy just said, this is my shot, is what I think he says. She wanted to rejuvenate her career, just like Karen McDougal did. I said, it was difficult. Why is she going on Kimmel? I don't know. Might have to repay money. There's liquidated damages. This is my shot. She said to me, this is my shot. She wanted to rejuvenate her career. Of course she did. She wanted to go on Dancing with the Stars. And Trump, or somebody, apparently met with her at Trump Tower, and she was rejected. So now she has to create this new claim. Now, you don't have to read all these, says the government to Mr. Davidson. Don't read all this, but what is this about here? He says, oh, that's about a news article that had been published. I was receiving hundreds of phone calls. And did you prepare another denial before Kimmel? Yeah, I gave him another statement. I wouldn't call it a denial, but it's a statement. And where were you when you typed this statement? Davidson says, oh, wow, yeah, I remember that place. In fact, I was in the Marilyn Monroe suite in the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California. Fancy. He says there were hair people there. Gina Rodriguez and her then boyfriend Anthony were all there, and I was just typing away. Why were you there? Oh, well, Jimmy Kimmel had booked a suite for Stormy. Ah. So he's still her lawyer, still running around. Says the statement ended. It says, please check me out on Instagram. And so how was it true? I mean, you were denying that there was an alleged relationship. And of course, we just read that statement. I think they're to this statement now. So she's denying it. So how is that statement true if you helped her draft it and sign it? He says, well, it was not a relationship. That'd mean, some ongoing interaction. So there was no relationship. Well, what about these texts, Mr. Davidson? And he says, well, Michael Cohen was walking and talking Kimmel. He sent me a text. Cohen sent me a text saying, she is saying it's not her signature. What? He asked me, did you say she signed this in front of you? So now Stormy, who signed that letter that we just looked at, is saying it's not even mine. So Cohen's saying, what the heck, dude? She said she signed it in front of you. And what did you reply? Davidson said, WTF. He says, I said WTF. He tells the prosecutor, it's an expression of exasperation. Okay, and he says, okay, I got it. And what next? He says, well, Gina was there, said she was mad at Stormy, that Stormy had her look like a liar. Okay, Stormy was now talking about stuff. Now, Gina said that she has to have a long talk with Stormy on the plane to New York. Gina's this talent manager, right, who keeps these people in line. Says they were going to go film something, and so we had to get her in line. Now, did Michael Cohen, says the government, threaten a lawsuit? He says, oh, yeah, many times. He can be a very aggressive guy just running his mouth all the time. He threatened to rain down legal hell on Stormy. He'd say, you don't know who you are effing him. And what did you want to do? He says, I'm just deny the allegations. Now, whose contacts, Mr. Davidson, Stormy's lawyer, McDougal's lawyer, whose contacts did Cohen send to you? Christopher Cuomo. Who's he? Oh, he's in the broadcasting business. And what did you write to Cuomo? He says, I said that Cohen, having paid, was in conformity with what he told me. So Cohen paid, and that's what he told me. Now, did you check it with Mr. Cohen before you sent that to Christopher Cuomo, the reporter? He says, yeah, I did. And I believed it was truthful. It was what Cohen had told me. Cohen got the money. Remember, Cohen went and got this mortgage, this home equity line of credit type of, was moving money around. And he says, yeah, I checked with him and he did do that. And so I believed it was truthful because Cohen told me, he says, F it, I'll just do it myself because Cohen needed a bank. Cohen in the McDougal deal, well, he wasn't a part of that. That was the Davidson-Pecker deal. So McDougal, Pecker, and Davidson, this guy, they settled the McDougal thing. That's not even charged here at all. And AMI, the National Enquirer, was the bank for that deal. Now, Cohen wasn't going to get Stormy's case and this case and AMI to be the bank. So Cohen just said, I'll do it. And then he'll get paid for that. So prosecutor says, but you believe that the ultimate source of the funds ultimately was Mr. Trump, right? So it wasn't like Cohen said, I'll just do it myself. And the prosecutor's like getting nervous here. Whoa, okay. But Trump was involved in this, right? Looking at the jurors like, hold on a minute. But you believe that ultimately the money came from Trump though, right? Right. He says, well, at the time of the transaction, later in the department store conversation, he said he had not been reimbursed. Now, at the time of the transaction, ... Later in the department store conversation, he said he had not been reimbursed. So it's hard to interpret that. I don't know if he knew it at the time of the transaction or if he learned it later when Cohen said, Trump didn't pay me back. And he's like, oh, I guess Trump's paying for this. I thought that was just your deal, Cohen. So we'll see if that, that just might be a transcription jump. We'll see if he, how he actually answered that. That's an interesting one. Government says, okay, Mr. Davidson, do you have a stake in this trial? He says, no. Okay, no further questions. Boom, they take a break. We'll fast forward through it. But of course, we'll like to pause and make sure that, my friends, you're giving our friend Matthew Russell Lee at Inner City Press a follow. Look at these great links here. If you're on Venmo, you want to send him some love, Matthew-Lee-675 is the address. If you're on Audible, go get the Pecker audio book. Make sure you get the right one, though. Be very careful. Don't just, get the first. Be careful when you're searching. Get his work. Go to paypal.com, follow his stuff, and make sure to support him because this is outstanding reporting. We could not do it without him. So make sure you're supporting him. He's got great stuff there. Now, we're back. They take their break. We're back. We have cross-examination starting. All rise. Please be seated. Jury's seated. Judge is back. Trump's attorney, Emile Beauvais, is now back. He says, good morning, Mr. Davidson. Now, you've never met President Trump. Is that right? I have not. And you only know of Mr. Trump from TV and Michael Cohen. Is that right? And some other clients, but not from him. And you got other AMI business through Dylan Howard, right? Like, for example, a labor matter with a reporter. He says, yeah, a California matter. I consulted on that one. And Dylan Howard was content guy with AMI. So these guys are referring business to each other, okay? AMI and the National Enquirer are shopping for stories. This is exactly what they do. They go have people find these stories, will buy it. Yeah, it's a great story. Come in here, tell your story, put you on the magazine. Playboy Playmate, Karen McDougal, right? She's out there like, put her on the cover. Okay, zoom in on that. Okay. And they sell a bunch of magazines. That's how it works. When someone needs representation, someone maybe might come to National Enquirer on their own without a lawyer. They say, you might need a lawyer. Here, contact Davidson. Because you should lawyer up to work your deal out. Now, a labor matter, right? He says, yeah, I worked on a California matter. I consulted on that. And you also testified, Mr. Davidson, to the grand jury, right? And you said in 2023, in fact, you said that Karen McDougal didn't want to publish this story. Is that what you said? Yes. And you said Miss McDougal had a real career, right? She was on magazine covers, right? More than that. Yeah, she was all over the place. Playboy Playmate of the Year, and you have this going, there's poster, all sorts of things. You remember what it was like in the 90s? It was crazy. More than that. So you called her AMI deal a dream deal when this came out, right? So she had, sort of a downfall after that all deflated. And then she is looking to get things back on track. And so you called her AMI deal a dream deal. Is that right? Well, no, she called it that. Oh, she did. And you didn't discuss that with Michael Cohen until it closed. So the McDougal deal was done, and then you talked to Cohen about it. Is that right? Yeah. And you also had a reciprocal referral relationship with Gina Rodriguez, and she was the talent agent for a bunch of reality TV stars. So you refer her stuff too, right? Well, somewhat. And you tried to represent her in this matter, in this case. He says, no, I didn't really try to represent her. I just returned a phone call for her. But the DA's office told you that that was a conflict, right? Like you can't represent her if you're both witnesses in this case. Is that true? No, I disagree with that. Well, I didn't disagree, but I disagree with their saying it's a conflict. And I didn't agree with that statement, but I still chose not to represent her anyways. So, okay, I'm not representing her. All right, but you did represent Stormy Daniels, didn't you? So McDougal is done. And then Stormy comes along. Now, you also represented Stormy Daniels in her $130,000 agreement, right? Yeah. And the word is called decoded. The word decoded was used, quote. That was your idea to use that word? Did you come up with this? No, I didn't. It's a widely used term, Trump's defense says. When you were in your Alice in Wonderland warehouse conversation in that weird department store, Michael Cohen was down on himself. He was feeling a little bit down when he called you. F&A, Trump's not taking me to water. He says, yeah, I thought he was going to eliminate himself. Bad. Now, he told you, Michael Cohen said that he thought that he would be the chief of staff. Is that right? Or that he would be the attorney general? He called you to say I'd be the attorney general? He says, yeah, he did. Holy, this dude's nuts. Okay. Michael Cohen is so delusional, they're going to make him AG? Okay, it's like way far gone than I even thought. So chief of staff also, which usually goes to very skilled, very competent people who have a lot of experience in Washington. Cohen, who is incompetent and nobody likes at all, thinks he's going to be chief of staff. Dude is delusional, like to a whole different level. It's like, I'm going to go start for the NBA Lakers tomorrow, starting lineup. And then when they don't pick me, I'm like, I can't believe this. LeBron James. Does he play for the Lakers? I don't even know. But here is where this continues. Okay, deluded Cohen calls Davidson and says, I can't believe this. I'm going to eliminate myself because I'm not going to be the AG of the Justice Department. He's like, Davidson's like, you're freaking whack, dude. Now, Emil Bove, Trump's lawyer, says, when you met with Bragg's office, you met by Zoom, didn't you, Mr. Davidson? Yeah. And Mark Pomerantz, the guy we talked about in the first segment, he was the one who was asking you the questions, right? Yeah. Objection, says the government. They go up to the sidebar. They have a conversation about this, probably maybe, I don't know, work product privilege, right? He's asking about our case, our investigation. That's attorney-client work product. That's attorney work product privilege. And so you don't get objection sustained. They go back. Mr. Davidson, Stormy McDougal's lawyers, what does extortion mean to you, sir? I would say it is about coercion, and there's more to that. It's when it's by force or threat and whatever. Now, is it your belief that the statute of limitations has expired on any extortion by you in this case? Like, do you think you could be charged with a crime for this? Like, you could be involved in an extortion scheme? He says, crap, I haven't even thought about that. You're a lawyer and you haven't thought of that prior to your testimony today? Like, you don't think that you're a part of this scam or this scandal? Like, you might be alleged to be a part of it? No, I haven't. And this is the point we made, I don't know, 3 days ago, that a thesis of the defense case is to say that Cohen was colluding or feeding stories. I'm not saying that this guy was involved in it, but Cohen might have been feeding stuff to him, right? Or Cohen was referring stuff to him. And that he's like, or he's planting seeds to go to this guy. This guy takes it to Cohen. This guy takes it to Pecker, and they all resolve this, right? It's a bigger scandal. No, I haven't thought of that. You're a lawyer. You haven't thought of that? So one of the first things I thought, I'm like, blame it on this guy. Blame it on him, right? Well, the defense has to come up with an alternative theory. So who are they looking at? Everyone else who was involved. Clearly, this guy is part of it, right? He's like the main lawyer. So it's either him, Cohen, Stormy, right? Pecker, I think, is pretty much just a transactional guy. So do you think you could be a part of extortion? I haven't thought of that. Okay, well, all right. Hopefully it doesn't happen to you. Now, do you remember telling the DA's office that you didn't recall the election being the deadline? Says, I recall saying I do not recall. Yeah, I do recall saying I do not recall, now that you mention it. You say you worked on media cases. Is that right? Yeah. And in those cases, it's true you used NDAs, right? Right. And you were pretty well versed in getting right up to the line on these claims without it becoming extortion. He says, well, I don't know what you mean. It's a weird question, whatever. Have you familiarized yourself with extortion law based on a particular experience? You familiarized yourself with extortion law. It's kind of a rule, like you never ask the question in the law that you don't know the answer to, right? He says, you familiarized yourself with extortion law. Why? Based on a particular experience, didn't you? No. Weren't you investigated for extortion under Florida law in 2012? He goes, oh yeah, that time. So you tried to avoid extortion about the 2016 elections to Michael Cohen. Is that right? No, I didn't think that. So you see what's happening? No, I don't know anything about extortion. I mean, I don't have to. What I do is not extortion. I'm not extorting, billionaires or millionaires with these NDAs. It's not extortion at all. It's consideration like a contract. But weren't you investigated for extortion? Oh yeah, forgot about it. I was. So since you were investigated in Florida in 2012 for extortion, you probably didn't want to commit extortion again, right? And so you tried to avoid extortion in 2016 when you were working with Michael Cohen, right? No. Okay, but you represented to Don Holland. You said that Don Holland was leaking about Lindsay Lohan in rehab. You remember that? And TMZ paid her $10,000. Remember that deal? No, I don't recall that. But she was your client though, right? Yeah, but I don't know what you're referring to. But didn't you broker, Mr. Davidson, the Tila Tequila sex tape? Yeah, gosh. And you were on a 90-day bar suspension too, weren't you? You lost your license. You were suspended for 90 days, right? I don't recall. And didn't you extract money from Charlie Sheen, right? There was no extraction. Okay, let's say this. You caused Charlie Sheen, who is like, the mega all-star for a while in this country. You caused him to pay, didn't you? He said, well, of course, there was tortious behavior. There were damages, so he had to pay. And isn't it true that you got a client to sign a 60% retainer agreement when she could barely complete a sentence while she was on meth? Isn't that true? Objection! Sustained. He says, I'm a little fuzzy. He says, you're fuzzy? You don't remember signing someone on meth who could hardly speak, drooling out of themselves, like Hunter Biden? You gave him a 60% retainer, so you're going to take 60% of everything? It's like, come on, man. They're going to get 40% of that? Like you're going to take the majority? Dude, from someone who's high drooling on themselves? You're fuzzy? What? Well, I've had 1,500 clients or so. He says, yeah, you have. You've had a lot. What about Capri Anderson? He says, assuming arguendo, which it means for the sake of argument. He says, okay, look, we're both lawyers here. Don't give me this arguendo crap. I'm not here to play legal games with you, Mr. Davidson. I just want truthful answers from you. He says, you're getting truthful answers. And if you're not here to play legal games, then don't use words like extract with me. He says, fine. Did Capri Anderson reach a settlement with Charlie Sheen? He says, I'm not going to answer that question. He says, Your Honor, please instruct the witness to answer this question. He clearly needs to answer it. He says, no, he's asserting privilege. Ask another question. Move on. He says, okay, what about the Hulk Hogan tape? Did you tell Hulk Hogan the Gawker post was just a shot across the bow? Like they've got way more from you, Hulk? You should settle? He says, I don't recall that. He says, fine, let's go to People's Exhibit. They put this up here. Were these your messages with Michael Cohen? Were these about Hulk Hogan? You see that on the screen? He says, yeah, I see it. So it's true. You told Hulk Hogan's representation that you didn't want to out gay men. Is that what you said? That they should pay, right? That you demanded money? He says, well, I made a monetary demand. Yeah, I did. But then the National Enquirer published it, right? Look at Defense Exhibit F2-7 for the parties here. Pull that up. Didn't Dylan Howard with the National Enquirer have a byline on one of the Hulk Hogan tape articles? Didn't Dylan Howard have it? Look at it right there. Is that what you see? He says, yeah. And so you gave the info to Dylan Howard, right? You were with Hogan and you gave it to Howard. He says, I did not. There was an FBI investigation into all of this, right? He says, yeah. And the FBI had a sting operation, didn't they? He says, I don't know what that is. The FBI was recording you, Mr. Davidson, a couple of doors down, weren't they? He says, well, they had an investigation. So the Tampa PD, they referenced extortion, didn't they? Well, they investigated it. And so because of that, you became familiar, back to my original question, with extortion law. Perhaps I was. And in the Manny Pacquiao finder's fee case, you said if there was no settlement, The guy would never find work in California. Didn't you say that? He says, no, I don't speak like that. I'm sure. All right, back to this case, Mr. Davidson. Now, a friend of Karen McDougal was trying to publicize Miss McDougal's relationship without her consent. Isn't that true? So someone else had the story. Okay, Karen McDougal had the story, but a friend's like, I've got the gossip, man. I can't wait to share this. He says, yeah, someone was trying to do that, but I didn't know who. And your fee in this case was 45%. Is that right? Your fee was 45%? He says, yeah. And you mentioned John Crawford, didn't you? Who's that? He says, ex-PD. And Crawford also owns UPS stores around Phoenix. Shout out. I believe so. And Crawford got paid, didn't he? Yeah, he was compensated. But you know the California rules prohibit non-attorneys from being paid from attorney's fees, right? And you've been disciplined on that, haven't you? He says, no. So you garnered confidence by already getting interest from the National Enquirer. And you told Karen McDougal that, right? He says, perhaps. So now he is getting into some client stuff. Maybe I did. So you went and basically started warming up the fire. And then you said, hey, Karen, this might be something they're interested in. So you're in a relationship, Mr. Davidson. So your relationship with Dylan Howard from the National Enquirer, it benefited your law practice, didn't it? So he does content curation for National Enquirer. You represent people who have stories that might be great content for the National Enquirer. You refer each other business. You guys kind of benefited each other, right? I don't see how the two are related. But AMI, who owns the National Enquirer, says Trump's defense, they said that Miss McDougal had not provided enough evidence. Remember that? And so you wrote to Dylan and they said, and you said that she found her BlackBerry. Wow, what a miracle. So the lawyer brings McDougal to AMI, National Enquirer. They say, this is a crap story. There's not enough evidence here. Go find more evidence. She says, no problem. Happy to do that. Oh, look, I went and checked under my mattress. I found my BlackBerry. Great. And now I have more evidence. So the lawyer sends that back to the National Enquirer. Hey, great news. We just we found some evidence. Now you told Mr. Howard that you were drafting a declination letter, didn't you? He says, okay, let's take a break, the judge. And we pause. Reminder, make sure you're following Inner City Press doing this amazing reporting. All of his links are here, PayPal, Venmo, Amazon, Audible, and the rest of them. We're back from the break. Judge says, all right, anything before we bring the jurors back in today? Trump's defense attorney, Susan Nicholas, says, Your Honor, yeah, actually, I'm handing up some articles that President Trump would like to post on his Truth Social account. They mention witnesses and prosecutors, but the gag order is a little bit ambiguous about this. And so we're gonna show you these articles. He wants to share this whole stack of them. Can he retruth these? Yes or no? Government says, Your Honor, they are asking for advance rulings on this. I mean, sure, there is a political campaign, but this is a criminal trial here. And so I'm not, and so they don't get any advance rulings on his conduct. And so he says, I'm not going to issue some advance ruling. So I would just say, be cautious. Well, Your Honor, can we post it or not? Okay, he wants to argue that it's political. He say, well, I'd say steer clear. Don't post it. Okay, so it's election interference, again, from this judge. Can we post some political articles on our Truth Social account? No. Or else you get fined or go to jail. So once again, Trump is asking for permission. Can you please just look at these? Can I just post this at all? No. It's strange that they will issue prior restraints and then won't give advance rulings, right? So he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. So if he posts and it's illegal, that's his own fault. Sorry, you should have steered clear in the middle of a campaign. Election interference, 100%. Don't even ask. Now the judge says, okay, I'd steer clear. Bring in the jury. Jury comes in. Trump's attorney, Emile Beauvais, is back. Davidson's on the stand from the break. He says, Mr. Davidson, Gina Rodriguez is the talent manager. He says, her boyfriend is called Anthony, right? And he wrote the piece on The Dirty, which is a gossip website, right? Which is interesting connection, how connected all this is. He says, I don't know. Davidson says, I don't know. And The Dirty is owned by Karen McDougal's ex as well. Is that true? Wow. It just gets deeper. I don't know. He says, I don't know. So you were able to get the 2011 The Dirty post taken down because Gina's boyfriend wrote it. Is that right? Well, she could have just told her boyfriend, right? Gina could have just told him. So they go through this whole deal. Remember, Gina Rodriguez was in the room, it sounds like, at that hotel at Jimmy Kimmel's event. And then the stories start to leak out. So she maybe is telling somebody about it, wrecking Davidson's deal, or maybe Davidson's telling her, right? And who knows? But he says, well, she could have just told her boyfriend. Maybe that's why he wrote it, because Gina was in the room and told him. But okay, the cease and desist letter wasn't one of your big victories. Wouldn't you you sent them this letter and it worked, right? Yeah, it worked. And didn't Larry Flint offer to indemnify Stormy Daniels about the settlement agreement, right? So somebody else offered to basically back her up. Says, I think there were other terms too, because her legal fees would have been paid, right? He says, well, the legal fees would have been paid, but it's still a problem in one's life. Like they still have to handle the court proceedings, even if somebody will pay for it. Now, Mr. Davidson, after all this happened, you kept working with Michael Cohen, right? After Stormy, he sent you another client. He says, yeah, he sent me a non-paying client. The worst. What about this woman called Summer Zervos? And what about this person, Shara Bachard, who claimed that they had intercourse with Elliot Brody, whoever these people are? He said, I don't know. I don't recall. You don't remember this morning? What? They asked if Mr. Cohen had ever recorded your conversations. And you don't remember today this? He says, some agency asked, and I said yes. I said his conversations were odd at times. He was speaking then in a linear fashion. He says, okay, well, please put on the headphones. I'm going to play some audio for you. He does. He says, I play this for you. Plays the audio. Now, Mr. Davidson, that was your voice, right? He says, yeah. And in that audio, you spoke about settler's remorse. You talked about leverage, right? You talked about Stormy Daniels in that audio. Is that correct? He says, yeah, probably. And when you said that, quote, hypothetically speaking, that's kind of like a code, right? So that you could sit in a chair like this and say, I'm not sure, right? And probably, right? You could sit here and say, I don't know, because you talk in code. Is that right? No. So it was Stormy Daniels' goal, wasn't it, to create leverage over Trump? Is that true? Because that's what you were talking about. Settler's remorse, leverage, Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump. So she's going to create leverage. Is that true? He says, I think you're grossly misstating. He says, there's no question pending. Government says, let him answer. Judge says, you may answer. He says, you're misstating the time period. He says, okay, so then Stormy hired Michael Avenatti, right? Is that what you're talking about? He says, yeah. And you said Michael Avenatti is really driving a wedge between Stormy and Gina, the talent agent. He says, I don't recall that. He said, well, you can listen to it. Put the headphones on. Play it again. They play it. Now, do you remember? He says, yeah. Did you say that it was not discussed if Donald Trump was paying Michael Cohen back? Did you say it was not discussed about this question, whether Trump was paying him back? He says, I don't recall. I do not recall. Well, put the headphones back on. They don't get to hear it, so we can't hear it. He says, okay, I heard it. Yeah, it's true. I did say that it was not discussed if Trump was paying Cohen back. Okay, so no connection between Trump and Cohen. He said, it's true. I did say it was not discussed. Did you say to Michael Cohen, you said something like, we both want the truth out there. Did you say that? Yeah, I did. And in 2018 in April, Mr. Davidson, did you speak with Michael Cohen about Gina Rodriguez and her boyfriend? And what was he saying? No, I didn't speak with them. Do you recall telling Michael Cohen a quote? Do you recall saying that if he loses the election, he will destroy, and he will, this story is worth zero. We have no effing leverage. Do you remember saying that? We need Trump to win. Otherwise, this story is meaningless. It's only an interesting story if it's about a president, not Trump, a billionaire. So if he loses, this story is worth zero. We've got no leverage. Did you say that? Yeah. And for everyone, this agreement here, this is a legal document, isn't it? Yeah. And you even had copyright in there. You put copyright in there. He says, I put transfer of copyright in there. And on this signature page, Mr. Davidson, David Dennison had not signed this contract, correct? He had not. And you do not know what happened to this after you saw it, right? No. No further questions. Cross-examination. Prosecutor says, can I have 5 minutes, please? He says, sure, let's take a break. We're back. Prosecutor's back up, says, okay, Mr. Davidson says, Trump's lawyer, Mr. Beauvais, he just asked you about conversations with Cohen. Here's my question. Had Michael Avenatti taken Stormy Daniels as a client and sued both of you? Yes. So were you saying Stormy Daniels was not threatened in Las Vegas, in LV? No. Now, the quote that you said here, that if he loses the election, we lose all effing leverage. Who said that? He says Anthony did. We want to put this document up, Your Honor. There's audio of Michael Cohen. They're playing 265, this exhibit. Cohen says, would you write a book? Would you break away from the Trump doctrine? Cohen is saying this. He says, no one is thinking about Michael. What about me? How many times he said to me, I hate that we did it. And I told him it was the right move. Davidson is responding, even if you let to write a book, you probably couldn't. Cohen says, nah, I could write a book. So what did this mean? What did this mean? He said, I hate that we did it. When Cohen was telling you, Mr. Davidson, that he said, I hate that we did it. What did that mean? He was talking about the Stormy Daniels settlement. No further questions. Mr. Beauvais? Mr. Davidson, you don't know the date of this recording, do you? I do not. All right, we move these into evidence, no objection, and we play them. Now, here's Davidson speaking about settler's remorse, saying settle by date X or we have no leverage, or you try to settle twice if you get a chance, hypothetically speaking. He says, let's play the next audio clip. Here's another one. Davidson is on the audio saying, Gina brought Stormy to Avenatti. The $130,000 was there. Was there ever any indication that the money was coming from him? And I said, no. They said, did you ever ask? I said, I don't ask other lawyers about their conversations, so I don't know where the money was coming from. Davidson said, it's going to air later today. We both know it's the truth, Michael. And the next audio clip says, on audio, it says, Stormy said, if he loses the case and we lose leverage, I'm going to sue you. That's called being pushed into settling the case. Okay, so Stormy's now threatening the lawyer. Go get this settled or else. Emile Beauvais says, Mr. Davidson. Now the letters DD, okay, DD. You say that was Donald Trump, right? A man you've never met, never been in the same room with until Tuesday, right? That's true. No further questions. Yeah, this is curious. So he ends there. We're done with Davidson, and that took a turn. So we have Davidson now, who has been somebody who's already been investigated for extortion, who was apparently in the room when a lot of these people were getting leaks or creating leaks, writing stories that may have been leaked from those very meetings. And it's a very, very strange ordeal. And so we are done with him. We get our next witness. Judge Mercan says, next witness is here. Government prosecutors come out. They say the government calls Douglas Dowse. They say, tell me about your history. Okay, this is a tech guy. So he's going to explain and basically authenticate, verify the technology. So might be a little bit foundational, might be a little bit boring. Let's see what we got. He says, okay, people call David Dowse. So tell me about your history. Well, I was in Iraq 2009, 2011, done a lot of tech work since then. Now, at the Manhattan DA's office, what do you do there? He says, well, I'm a computer and film tech expert. I'm a supervising analyst, and I keep up with technology. How many devices have you analyzed? Well, at the Manhattan's office. He says, well, 3,392. Government says more or less. Funny. Yeah, get a room, you two. More or less. Like, they work on the same team. Now, did you extract Michael Cohen's Apple 6S and Apple 7? Yeah. And did you note the last four numbers of the cell phone number? Yeah. 0114. All the serial numbers, too. He says, I move to admit these as exhibits. No objections. Boom, it's in evidence. All right, let's pull up these evidence from Cohen's cell phones. And who are these text messages between? He says, that's from Michael Cohen and Hope Hicks. What are the last four of her number? It says 0226. And how many contacts did Michael Cohen have? 39,000. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Way too many. Have you ever met Michael Cohen? Yes. I mean, no, I've seen him. How have you seen him? Well, I watch a lot of news. And this audio file, he says it's with Keith Davidson and it's in his voice notes. We offer Exhibit 247. What's this date? He says it's from 9/6/2016. Trump is not in the White House. Election's right around the corner. And it's People's Exhibit, Government Exhibit 246. He said, is this a transcript of the last 46 seconds of that audio? And is that accurate? This is the tech guy. Yeah, it's accurate. They play the audio. It's from Davidson. Or actually, no, this is from Trump, apparently. So this is Davidson in his voice notes. Or it's with Keith Davidson in voice notes. Oh, okay, I see. So remember, we're on Michael Cohen's phone. Cohen recorded a voice note. It's with Keith Davidson in the voice notes, but it's a Michael Cohen's phone. So I'm wondering, how does Trump get on here? It's because it's with Cohen. So it says, here's Exhibit 246. Is this a transcript and is it accurate? Yes. Perfect. We'll play the audio. In the audio, Donald Trump is on. He says, let me know what's happening, okay? It's such BS. I think this goes away quickly. Cohen says big time. Yeah. Cohen says, I need to set up a company for the transfer. Our friend David. ... Audio cuts out. It's 46 seconds. We have no idea what the rest of it said. I don't know why not. I don't know where that audio came from or how it got in Cohen's notes or when he created it, why he created it. But it's in there. 46 seconds. And of course, Trump is, this whole thing's BS. Deal with it. Even if they're talking about this, like we don't even know if they're talking about this. I think the only thing that references this is the word David. And I think they're saying that his name is DD. Prosecutor thinks that's a major win. Says, okay, nothing further. Trump wants to know what's happening. It's BS. I think this goes away quickly. But I need to set up a company for the transfer. Our friend David. Okay. Cross-examination. He says, all right, Mr. Dowse, you said your work in Iraq was similar to Manhattan. He says, yeah. But this is a criminal case, not a terrorist case, right? Now, these hashes are long. So the computer does a lot of this work for you. Is that right? You know, hashing the data. He says, yeah. Now, you testified today about some of the artifacts from two phones. And there are segments of much broader data, right? He says, yeah, I'm not part of the investigative team, so I don't know how this image landed to me. I just got it. And, you know, whatever. He's like, I don't know. I'm not part of the team that got there, but there are segments that are part of much broader data. So again, why was it cut off? We'll see. Judge says, okay, perfect. Just as you're getting into this, we're going to take a break. And tomorrow, they're breaking early. So it says, jurors, get out of here. Don't read about the case. Jurors leave. They're cutting out a little bit early on the Friday. And of course, that is the end of the day. And so, inner city press reporting, my friends, doing an amazing job. Make sure you're out there following him, supporting his work, Venmoing him some stalking, as we talked about yesterday, PayPal, Substack, MatthewRussellLee.icp.substack.com. Head on over there and show him some love because, man, this is some great reporting. And so, what a day. Of course, that was the trial testimony. We also had Trump who commented about this. Trump says, you know, people were saying that he was getting a little bit sleepy in there. He says, hey, contrary to the fake news media, okay, I don't fall asleep during the crooked DA's witch hunt, especially not today. I simply close my beautiful blue eyes sometimes, listen intensely, and take it all in. From Trump and his big, beautiful blue eyes in Alvin Bragg's crooked witch hunt. And there was a great comment that someone should bring him a My Pillow. Call Mike Lindell. Just bring him a nice pillow. Maybe with a little gold engraving. Beautiful. So, what is the reaction to a lot of this? Tim Scott says, you know, Trump's wired for this. He can handle it. Not a big deal at all. And then we'll see what Trump did with the fire department there in New York, capitalizing on this rigged ordeal. But Tim Scott, many rumoring him to be a potential prospective VP contender. This is what he says about these trials.
Well, there's no doubt when you watch the president campaign on his one day from court in Michigan and Wisconsin, he just needs to continue to do what he's doing. He's talking about America's future. He's talking about making sure that every single American gets to live their version of the American dream. He's talking about the fact that the liberal elite and the Democrats are coming after him because he's standing in the gap for everyday patriots. There's no better contrast between Dearborn, Michigan, and the rest of the state where you see the patriot lovers coming out for Donald Trump, and then you have the oppressors, the Injustice League, standing in solidarity behind Joe Biden, and anti-Semites and sympathizers are rallying around Democrats. There is no doubt that the party of Lincoln, the party of Reagan, and the party of Trump we're standing in solidarity for who we are as Americans. I love President Trump, love his passion, but he is wired for what we're going through right now.
I think that is a true point, whether you like him or not for VP. I don't know that there's anybody who could withstand this type of onslaught. And it has been a wild, historic thing to watch unfold. And I think a lot of the strength comes from the people who stand behind the president. So we had Donald Trump, after this entire ordeal was over, came out and spoke to the media and to some other people. He was also at a campaign event in Wisconsin during the day off. And this is what it looked like after court had ended. Let's make sure we have the right clips in the right order. This is what Trump said after the trial had ended.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We had a long day of court as always, but very happy about the way things are going. The fact is that we're looking outside and we're seeing all of the things that are taking place in our economy, with inflation, with the kind of numbers that are being announced. We're seeing all of the crime that's going on outside, and to be sitting in this courtroom over this is just ridiculous. It's election interference at the highest level, never been done before in our country. And I should be out campaigning right now, and I want to be out campaigning like I was yesterday. We finally had a break, and I was out campaigning yesterday. Very unfair. There's never been anything like this in the history of our country, never. So we're doing well. The polls are extremely good despite that. The polls are extremely good, the best we've ever had, and it looks like we're doing very well.
All right, so that is the president. He's saying we're doing well. We're still campaigning when we can. This was from the rally yesterday. So remember, part of the Democrat campaign strategy is to keep him bogged down. It's about energy, right? In 2020, they tried to suppress the energy on the right with COVID. It worked. And they have to make up for the enthusiasm gap that Joe Biden has. So if Joe Biden can't hardly walk to his helicopter across grass, they have to conceal that. They have to stop the energy from Donald Trump. And they can do that, theoretically, in their minds, by locking him down 4 days a week so he can't be out there campaigning. Well, on Wednesdays, when he was off of trial, he went over to Wisconsin, and this clip is outstanding. Here is Trump, and the energy feels a lot like 2016. Watch this one.
He's in good shape. Thank you, Uncle Phil. Look at this guy.
The last one you signed got lost.
Oh, I'll sign it.
Yeah,
Give me, I'll sign it. I'll sign it for you. Yeah. He asked me to sign it. I said, I got to make a speech here, Uncle Sam. Good looking Uncle Sam, though, huh? Give me a pen, somebody. Let's get Uncle Sam taken care of. Come on. Give me a pen. I got to get a pen. Let's go. Yeah, good. Just throw it up there.
Hit the teleprompter.
Give me a pen, please.
Wow.
You think Biden can bend down like that? I don't think.
No, he can't.
Where's Uncle Sam? Here's your pen back. Thank you. Uncle Sam. You got it, man. Oh, that's nice. Secret Service. Secret Service doesn't love that stuff.
No, they don't.
They're not in love. They're looking like, what's he doing? Don't do this.
That's exactly what I thought. He's like, just throw your pens at me. I'm like, oh my gosh, they all had aneurysms. All right, everyone's like throwing pens at Trump. They're all going to have a heart attack. But that's because Trump's not scared of anything, okay? Not pens. There are loving people. MAGA's in that room, and the energy of MAGA will persevere and protect him. So just hilarious. And Joe Biden, honestly, could he bend down and pick up a pen? I don't think so. They tried to put him on a bike, remember? They stopped doing that after that little ordeal, not doing that anymore. So Trump is hilarious. You can see the crowd absolutely eating it up. And after trial took place today, he came out and delivered pizzas to the NYPD and the FDNY all across New York.
Outside of a fire station after leaving court, he's got pizza for the guys. This is typical Trump. Let's poke in and see what he's up to right there.
Enjoy, fellas.
He can walk up to a firehouse, a police station. He can walk into a boardroom, a bowling alley, or a bar and have a conversation with absolutely anybody. We don't have any audio on him right now, but apparently he's going inside to talk to these firefighters, which is, by the way, right outside the studio, folks. This is incredible. The fact that he leaves court, goes and campaigns with these people, and it goes in campaigns with ordinary people, not high-dollar fundraisers with Lizzo like Joe Biden did recently.
Right on. Exactly right. So he's looking good, saying what's up to our men and women in the fire department and the police department who are out there serving their communities. We're grateful for them. Trump is as well. So a fun day near at the end of the trial, and a very interesting day when Michael Cohen's credibility got shredded even further, saying that he was not trustworthy, right? This is not somebody that is honest, and they were trying to get out of certain deals. He's calling, he's suicidal, he's delusional to the point he thinks he's going to be the attorney general. He's going to be the chief of staff for the president. So more madness ahead, no doubt. We're going to be here continuing to cover this, my friend. So thank you for subscribing and joining us as we do. We love when you invite someone over to come and join us so that they also can see what's happening behind the scenes on these cases. We're grateful for checking out the members only community that we have. It's watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We do streams 6 days a week, including on Saturdays in the mornings, and we get into a bunch of other stuff that we can't squeeze in here on the live stream. So thanks for supporting us. Thanks for joining us, becoming a membo, meeting some great membos. We'll see you over there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends, that is it on the day for us. We got two good segments out. Michael Cohen shredded by Stormy's lawyer. We have Trump prosecutor pleading the fifth, Mark Pomerantz, and the contempt hearing that occurred today. And of course, we had our GoodLawgic update as well. And I saw he swung by. So shout out to our friend GoodLawgic. Now, my friends, let's hear from you. Joe's links are in the description below as well if you want to go over there and support his cause. He's fighting to ungag Trump, which would be good for all of us. Of course, when we're done here, we are going to our members only after party at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'll come see you over there, and we can't wait until we do. Let's see who's getting the day started with these amazing donos. Thank you, my friends, for supporting what we're doing here. We got Jeff C., who became a membo. We'll see you on the membos only morning stream, Jeff. Hey, it's John McGarvey, a membo who's bringing in 10 new membos. Bringing in Hollywood Hill, Angela M, Woozy, Susie, and Cocoa Puff coming in. Eric with the K, Pope Rackets Touched Me is here. Sarah L, Just Dia, Dog Backwards is God, Texas Guitar Gal, and Kevin Hopper in the house. Welcome aboard, John McGarvey, bringing him in. Thank you, John. Great to see you, and welcome aboard. Hey, Rocky Water absolutely says cheers to Matthew Russell Lee at Inner City Press for, man, just all day banging away on that keyboard and bringing us the news. Rick D says Peter R, Paul E, that's not my name, Brett B, JD Lamont, we got KCH, Diane B, No Japsky, we got Sheila L, John M, and Laura, all coming in as membos. What's up, Rick D, bringing in new membos. Very nice of you, Rick. Thanks for doing that. 10 new membos, courtesy of our friend Rick. Hey, it's the Munkets is bringing in some membos as well. What's up? Tony Hey Munkets is bringing in Darren M, Gerald W, Pickle Jars for Hillary that she definitely can't open, Jason G, Rocky, Kelly D, Tyler, Pi Squared, and B-Dubs, courtesy of Tony Hey Munkets. Hey, it's the Munkets. Surdon Trip. 9 months, man, that's a baby. Says we have the best community, Trump 2024, Crisis King. From Sir Don Tripp, membo for 9 months. Thank you, Sir Don. That's a full baby in the house. Charles B says, will be President Trump's voice, make America great again. Thank you, Charles. That's over on Rumble. Charles is a member over there and supporting us over on Rumble. We love our Rumble friends. Thanks for streaming us over there as well. We got What's Up DJ says, hi, Robert. Did you hear Fannie's being charged with RICO? Yeah, we covered that whole lawsuit yesterday. There's a Georgia Senate stream tomorrow because of Ashley Merchant's meeting with them. Interesting. There's a Georgia Senate. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's going to be juicy or spicy. Probably. Is it going to go this time? I don't know. Interesting. I'll take a look at that. But yeah, DJ, if you missed it yesterday, our third segment on yesterday's show was that whole lawsuit. We read through it. And it was good. It was juicy. Hey, it's the Munkets. 5 more membos coming in. We got Pyramid 7 Patriots joining, Stephen D, Falcon Hoof, Susan W coming in. What's up? New membos, courtesy of Tony Hey Munkets. Hey, it's the Munkets. Flash River is saying, solving some tech problems over there. Man, thanks for the update, Flash. Sorry you're having tech problems. It's frustrating. Hopefully you made it. Sounds like you did. We love you, Flash. Thanks for being here. Not a banned account. Says only guilty people plead the Fifth Amendment. Yeah, hey, man, that's their rules, not ours. So clearly, Mark Pomerantz is guilty. Clearly. Arrest him. ELF is our new supporter. What's up? Welcome aboard, ELF, as a new membo. Grateful to see you. See you on our members-only streams. We got this one from Queen Bee's Art Hive as well. Another new membo. Welcome aboard, Queen Bee's Art Hive. Sounds awesome. So welcome aboard. We'll see you on our membos streams. We got Knox says, happy Thursday, all. Court ended early due to the flood warning here in Houston. My gosh, I've seen some of that. Crazy as it is, sunny and gorgeous now. Hope everyone's having a great day. I've seen some people posting about flooding in Texas, so hopefully that doesn't happen and everything stays nice and dry. We got this one. Knox says, I will wager that that your bad Arizona AG will rip a superseding indictment should Trump somehow get out of the New York mess sooner than they think. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think you're right, Knox. So what Knox is saying is they're going to add Trump as a co-defendant in the AZ case. So currently there's, I think, 18 co-defendants Rudy Giuliani, Christina Bobb, Mike Roman, Jenna Ellis. Okay, those people all been charged. Trump is only an unindicted co-conspirator, except he's co-conspirator 1. So I think you're right about that, Knox. And Mike, I still don't know that they'll be able to get it before the election. Like, they won't be able to get it done before the election. There's no way. No way. So, but they can still hang that over his head, right? It's now Trump has been indicted in Arizona, which is a very big swing state now, for whatever reason, as a felon. What's up, Ronald Perry, with the reminder. Hit that like button, my beautiful friends. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for the reminder, Ronald. Great to see you. We got Sean M. says, Judge McAfee donated to Fannie's election campaign. How did Ashley and Sadow miss that? I don't think that they missed it. I think it came up. I don't know if there was a motion to recuse or not. Well, but you're right about that, Sean. Honestly, though, I think we had no idea what we were dealing with in terms of level of corruption in Fulton County. We had no idea. I mean, we know now we have a very problematic pattern. We have got the Young Thug trial, which is totally madness. We've got the Fannie saga, which is insane. We had the Judge Amy Totenberg opinion and the election problems that are happening there. We also have, there was another one I was thinking of. Oh, the one we just read yesterday with the judge, the Representative Maynor, saying that some county commissioner was sleeping with the judge who is hearing their trial cases for criminal defendants who were threatening state representatives. It's insane. It is a whole different animal in Fulton County. It's not justice at all. Hey, it's the Munkets bringing in more membos. Mackenzie L. What's up? Greg M. is joining us. Keith C. Donald D. Nice and Pam M. in the house, courtesy of Tony Hey Munkets, bringing in new membos. We got HMK. What's up, HM, who became a supporter. Can't wait to see you tomorrow in our members-only stream. Thomas W. says, can Trump bring in the prosecution of Cohen's case to impeach Cohen's testimony? Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, or at least, again, how much of it we'll see. But yeah, I character for truthfulness and all that stuff, I think that his prior perjury conviction would be very relevant to that. Would they be able to ask them if what Trump did was illegal to get around Merchan not allowing their legal expert? So who are they asking? It depends on who it was. I mean, asking whether or not something was illegal kind of calls for, a legal conclusion, which is what the jury should be doing. So the court will instruct the jury about what the law is. And if you ask someone to say, is Trump guilty or innocent right now? The objection calls for a legal conclusion. And now they could say, they could get around that with certain actions that Trump did or did not do were illegal or not. But it depends on who the expert is and what they're being asked. There's a lot of rules around experts and how you can ask those questions. So it depends is always the answer. What's up? Randall M says, if the judge thinks he can gag Stormy, he has a very big opinion of himself. Keeping it family friendly, but the joke had to be made. I was kind of, you heard that pause in that earlier segment when we were talking about Stormy being gagged, and I had several different things floating through my brain. I'm like, just don't. And I didn't. I'm happy with myself, but you did. Thank you, Randall, for doing it. So I didn't have to. Has anything ever gagged Stormy ever or what? We got, hey, what's up? Hey, oh my gosh. We've got our rally caps on. Someone made a big fat dono. Woo! Man, that's a generous one. Big fat dono from the Watching the Watchers fan, man. I don't even know who that was, but we got our rally caps on. Let's go. So, man, some serious donos going over to our friend GoodLawgic, Joe Neerman. Woo! That's a team dono? Man. Is that how that worked? What's up? Sheila P. says, love this chat. We love you back, Sheila. Stay strong, Watching the Watchers fam. Absolutely. We're stronger together. We're going to keep our energy up. We're going to keep our knowledge increasing. We're going to be, happier, healthier, stronger, better looking people than the left. And did you see our shopping tab, by the way? Join the polo revolution, okay? Get some new polos from Nordstrom. You can click the shopping tab on YouTube and get some new clothes, okay? It's summertime. Get some fresh polos, man. Look good out there. and click our shopping tab. Click our shopping tab out there. Get fresh, man. Polo Revolution. Hey, what's up, Sheila? We got this one from Rob White. Says, off topic, if we get the Senate, call your senators. Put the same restrictions on Schiff the House put on him. No access to top secret documents if the Republicans retake the Senate, which I think they're anticipated to do, which would be good news. Glocky says, there were new unsealed filings to dismiss documents in the Florida case just dropped. He references how the DOJ handled Hillary's case. Yeah, and I think this is the selective and vindictive prosecution filing that we've been waiting for, and it's a big one. And I don't know that we'll get to it this week, but it's on my radar. I really want to get to it. We got, we'll have trial tomorrow, although trial tomorrow might be short, so maybe we can get to it tomorrow. We'll see. Bad Poet says, on the Davidson's evidence, DD was in the margin. They said it meant Trump, says the guy who forged a guy named David Dennison's initials, DD, when Trump is DT, sounds like a lie. Yeah, it's weird. This David Dennison character is all over the place. His name is DD, but they say that's Trump, which is weird. Bad Poet. What's up? Flash River says, Rob, if there was an NDA in the Stormy Daniels affair, would those letters breach the silence of the NDA agreement? I don't know which letters you're referencing, but yeah, I mean, again, depending on the terms of the agreement, yeah, if Stormy's is talking about this, right, if she's out there breaching it, I think that would be a breach of the agreement. Now, the question is, would it be enforceable? Would you enforce it? And I think what happened with McDougal is the answer was no. They basically didn't enforce it. They just released her from it because what are you going to do? The story's already out. So I think that, yeah, it depends what portion we're talking about. Bad Poet says, it's fine for law enforcement to break a bunch of laws, commit felonies. As long as it's Trump, well, okay, they do that all day on the people who can't fight back in court. Yeah, Trump has a lot of resources and a lot of people at his back, but the rest of us don't. Many of us are just flying through. So when you have a corrupt prosecutor, it's a real big problem because you don't have the same, backing. Charlie says, what's up? Thank you for covering these cases. Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for supporting us. We have a lot of fun. I think we're going through something pretty historic together. And so this is an experience as much as it is anything. Tree Climber, what's up? Bringing in Mark B. Great to see you, Tree Climber. Thanks for bringing in new membos. Brought in another one, including another S is in the house. Very nice. Patrick H. saying the same. Sandy says, I can only post this thanks to Gigum for helping me with the tech issue. Man, Gigum's just amazing. Isn't Gigum the best? What's up, Gigum? Thank you for doing that. Sandy, thank you for working with Gigum to resolve it. Glad it got resolved. Gigum's awesome. Hey, what's up? Andres says, if Cohen could be the AG, Robert could start for the Phoenix Suns. Maybe I can. Maybe I've been selling myself short my whole life, I mean, if Cohen is like, have confidence like Michael Cohen, maybe I can, dunk the basketball. I'll go try. Maybe I can. And then when they don't pick me for the starting lineup, I'll sue somebody. How dare you? This is racism. Rob White, what's up? Rob, what's the difference between attorney and esquire? I don't think anything. Just different names. So it's like attorney and lawyer are the same. I think esquire, I don't know officially, just kind of signifies you're a lawyer. I don't know if it means something different, in England or something, but I would say there's no difference. They're just signifying that you are one. Now, if you are like JD, that might mean you have a law degree, but not actually a law license. So if you say JD, they might just have a license, but a degree, but not a license. Hey, what's up? GoodLawgic is in the house. Says, I just received a very generous donation made on the Ungag Trump from someone called Watching the Watchers fam, baby. Man, that's amazing. Thank you, Rob, and all you incredible folks at Watching the Watchers. Always keep fighting, man. We love you, Joe. Keep up the good fight, man. I don't know anybody else in America, it's wild to me that there's no other major media entity who's trying to ungag Trump. It's like insane. Don't they think that this is an important issue? But no, they're not. But GoodLawgic is here, taking the mantle, carrying it forward, and we're glad about that. And I mean that sincerely. So awesome work, GoodLawgic. We're going to keep supporting you, my man. Thanks for swinging by, my friends. He is right next door on YouTube, on Locals, on Rumble, and his Give, Send, Go is linked in our description on the tubes and everywhere else. And this is what Joe looks like. Have you guys seen this? Joe was at the beach the other day. That's what he looks like. Right there. Have you guys seen that? Man, he works out too. Handsome. Good to see you, Joe. I was over on Locals. He's kind of like Fabio or something. Remember that guy? All right. What's up, GoodLawgic? Good stuff. Okay, so seriously, go support Joe. He's hilarious. He's a lot of fun. He has a great stream. He's doing really important, serious work. All of his links are in the description. We love Joe. Chat's loving it. Here's one from Sandy. Sandy, what's up? Says, hey, Rob, everyone watching tonight needs 2 showers with 3 bars of soap after this show. Same lawyers involved with shakedown payments of 1,500 clients of this guy. Good grief. Good grief. What's up? Good to see you, Sandy. I know. Shower up, my friends. Says, jury not hearing in Davidson memory refresh is better than the jury hearing. Jury's pissed because they can't hear for themselves. Now, every objection that prevents the jury from knowing is really going to anger them. Yeah, they will be additionally emotional in the future over hiding info from them. Rabid Dems are all emotional decision makers. Yeah, it felt like that. It's like, do you know anything about extortion? No. Oh, you weren't investigated for extortion? Oh, yeah, I was. It makes you feel like, dude, you're a liar, bro. So you're just a liar. Like, don't play dumb. Everyone knows what that feels like. It's stupid. Hey, what's up, Cowboy Rob? Says, I'm 49 years old and an utter screw up in life the last 5 years. I got sober, got married, working full time. I'll be voting for the first time Trump, #1. Man, Cowboy Rob, that's tremendous news, man. Congratulations on your sobriety, on your wife, on your job, your career. It's amazing. It's amazing how quickly life can change on a dime. We have a men's group where we talk about the 12 steps, and it's amazing. We have one guy in our group who's just absolutely, he's doing this. He just got a house. He's getting married. He's got this great career going. And we were talking with him and he was like, yeah, like 5 years ago, I was on crack. It's like crazy. Like, man, good for you. You know, he's just crushing it. So it's weird. Life, you know, doesn't matter where you're at, my friends. If you're in the pits right now, you can dig yourself out of it, man. You can dig yourself out of it. So we're glad you're here. We'll keep talking about this. It's tremendous, Cowboy. It makes me like emotional. It's awesome. Congratulations. I know what you're talking about. It's a beautiful thing. Congrats. We're happy you're here, man. Thanks for sharing that. STFU says, DD equals Trump? What kind of crack does he think we smoke? A lot, apparently. A lot. We got this one from Glocky. Says, well, the British officially think Trump should be king. What? Former PM Boris Johnson says he thinks the U.S. should have a monarchy. Trump should be the king. He says, I think the monarchy is the best system. This is why I'm putting forward that. Did he say that? Okay, that guy's lost it too. Cowboy says, Trump needs to investigate all interns and staffers and Congress, whether he trusts them or not, top to bottom, and assistant department heads. We'll see. I agree. I think there should be a nice cleansing of the feds politically and peacefully. Lady Ice says, the one he was in did not need congressional approval. National Security Advisor, that is why they went so hard on him, and Obama told Trump 2 people not to trust were Flynn and Putin, because they knew that he would uncover the plot and the coup to sabotage Trump. Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer, says, thanks for another great live stream, Rob. You're watching the Watchers fam. Appreciate you and all the hard work you do. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, you're always so nice and positive and helpful and generous. We're grateful for you. Thank you so much for these great comments. And I appreciate you. I really do. I mean, we learn a lot together. As I said, this is an experience that we're all going through. It's a wild one. Jia Zhang, 26 months, not quite 3 babies, but says, great show as always. Cheers. Cheers to you, Jia. Thanks for being a member, man, for 26 months. It's been a long time. We got a long road ahead. We're grateful to be joining together with you. Carrie C says, I am done raising babies, so feel free to hand them off to someone else, LOL. I don't want any more. Okay, I got enough kids. Well, that's fine. We have watcher adoptions here. We'll have watcher adoptions. Just give them to someone else here. We'll adopt them quickly. Thank you, Carrie C. You put your work in. Dolphin Fan is the man, bringing in 10 new members. Stu K, Q Essence, Steve D, Joe H, Michael S, Mark G, Will I, Cecilia M, Selrin, Yorick, and CGI Joe. All shouting out, what's up? Dolphin Fan is the man, bringing in new members. Hey, Queen Bee's Art Hype says, this thing is wrong, okay? I've been a membo for 10 months. Oh, it's a baby and then some. And sometimes sometimes the body's weird, just accelerates things. It doesn't keep track appropriately. So we'll make a mental note, Queen Bee. Thank you for being a membo, a baby, and then some. And I don't know what YouTube's problem is. YouTube is being a punk. What's up, Stephen E. says, go Dodgers. Are they playing? Shout out to the Dodgers. Wendy C says, I appreciate all you do, Rob. Best channel ever. Wendy, super nice of you. Almost at our 1-year anniversary. You're a membo. Thank you for being that. Cheers to you. Sunglasses forever. Cowboy Rob says, I know it probably isn't possible for this judge to do it, but can't Trump's team try to get all the witnesses gagged, including Stormy? Well, I mean, I think he could maybe request that. I think what they're asking for, though, is for Trump to be ungagged. Like, rather than them not speaking, Trump should be able to respond to them, I think is what they want. If Cohen continues to run his mouth, maybe they will gag him. But I think the better strategy is to just ungag Trump so that he can actually comment on this stuff. King Ginger says, didn't the judge tell Trump's team to ask before posting anything? Now he's saying he's not going to tell them to post things. Am I missing something? Yeah, so, right, Trump, I don't know what exactly the exchange there was, but yeah, you can't post things unless it complies with the gag order. Can you confirm whether this complies with the gag order? I'm not going to look at it because I'm not going to give you an advance ruling on conduct. Do it and then I'll rule on it. So now they have to be ultra, concerned that they don't violate the gag order. So it's going to chill their political speech in a way that, in my opinion, is clearly unconstitutional. What's up, King Ginger? This one for Redeemed Patriot. It says, how do you mail ballots to rioters? I think what they do is just set up, well, I'm not sure how they send to different addresses, but remember we saw the one in Michigan where they had the strip mall location that was filled with different collection. Were they sending ballots to those? I don't know. Probably just send it to their parents' house. Andre says, please let the world know Nuggets and Avalanche will win the NBA and the NHL championships. You heard it here first, my friends, from Andre Spursons. Nuggets and Avalanche. Rick D says, how do you go to law school and not learn law on extortion? I'm sure it's talked about incidentally. You take criminal law, criminal procedure, evidence. Those things are basics because you got to take those to pass the bar exam. But, extortion, you probably just kind of skate over it. Now, this guy definitely knows about extortion because he was investigated for it. And he was dishonest about knowing about extortion, which makes it much worse. Hey, what's up? Knox says, congrats to Cowboy Rob. 9 years from Knox Bierman. Man, that's great to you, Knox, too. Cheers to your time. And shout out to Cowboy Rob. What's up? Retired SCPO says, 5 new membos are joining us. We got Sarah K, C. Warren, Rachel W, Winters joining us, and Chuck R. All in the house, courtesy of Retired Navy SCPO. Thank you, Retired Navy SCPO, for bringing in new membos. Grateful to have you as a membo and bringing in new membos. Thank you, sir. We got this one from Shadow Axe Band. Membo for 3 months, 1/3 of the way to a baby, and welcome aboard, Shadow Axe Band. Great to have you here. I see a couple others are coming in. Before we wrap those up, let's say hello quickly to our friends on X before we head on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com for our members only debrief. Let's see who's joining us on the X. We've got some comments. Let's see. All right, crypto nerds in the house. What's up, TJ King? We got G Usury. Good to see you, TJ King. He's talking about Jay Bratt, some stuff over there. Let's see what else is cooking. We got Raven Madness. Yeah, so that's a fun one. We'll try to see if we can hit that one tomorrow, time permitting. Monica says, not sure why we're not on the X live section. Usually you are. I don't know. Maybe Elon's making some changes over there. WECU is here. We got Glocky has some memes. And I think this is a Constitution meme with Jack Smith. He's throwing the Constitution at Jack Smith, the United States. No one else wants to get hit with the Constitution. Of course, they're going to. Oh, Liz Cheney could really use one. Liz Cheney could really use a nice constitution. Fred Pedamonte says Johnny's mad. He didn't appreciate that comment. Okay, he happens to be very good friends with Brian Kohberger, and we live in America where we have the presumption of innocence. Rob, loser. Glocky says if Trump doesn't pick Tulsi, it will be the biggest mistake of his political life. Wow. Tim Scott's a no. If he picks Vance, he times a solid American first senator. Interesting. So a one vote for Tulsi, huh? Trump should have True Social red tie, says Red Wadsworth. And James Pepper is sharing an interesting image over there. So we'll leave it there, my friends. We had a couple other donos come in as we wrap it up. Adam says, how about Donald Trump for king? Not monarch. No, that's kind of what he would be, right? If he's the monarch, he'd kind of be king. Trump for king, says Adam. And Sandy says, judge doesn't have personal jurisdiction over non-parties. He does have jurisdiction over witnesses under the court order to testify. Gag order is in jeopardy if Trump pushes the issue of the mainstream media, from Sandy. Yeah, I think that was kind of his point today, right? That he can't gag the media. He can't tell them to stop writing stuff and all the things. So I think I'm picking up what you're putting down over there, Sandy. So thank you for that. My friends, that is it for us. We are going on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And so come on over and join us. We're going to debrief for a bit over there. We also do members only streams in the morning. We also do live streams on Saturday for our members. Whether you join on YouTube or on Locals, come and join us. We also have robertgovea.com, our website. We got our PDFs are uploaded there. Merch stores over there. Show calendar can access there. Show reports and the daily newsletter are there. Watcherlodge.com is where you can find out about our in-person Watcher meetup at Trump International Hotel in Vegas, baby. And it's going to be fun, so come join us. We also have our Sovereignty Saturdays every Saturday at watcherlodge.com. It's our sovereignty and self-development platform where we're talking about solutions to a lot of the things that are happening around our world, how to get prepared, how to be resilient and anti-fragile in all of our affairs. So that, my friends, is it for us. Before we wrap it up, I want to say thanks to the mods and the meme smiths. Big shout outs to K Bean in the house, our friend Just Cause, Playing Hooky, Ronnie Cole, Zach Nichols, Janek, Dog Digger, Economy Pilot, Donut Mind Me, and our meme smiths, Sleepy Dog Lee, Nathan N810, Geegum Geegum, and of course Glocky McGlock, who are helping to keep this show nice and orderly and beautified. We're grateful for all of our mods and meme smiths. My friends, that is it for us on the day. Very grateful to have you here joining us as we go through this trial. We are going to come back tomorrow to get into it again, and we need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.